Welcome back. In the last part, what did we do? Oh, right. We went from the title screen to the game screen. So we'll just show that again. We set it up so that here's our title screen and we hit space, we'll go to the game. The game has a slightly delayed start so that we can prepare for it. Something cool we can do with that is like a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then go. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. In this video, we're gonna actually make it so that if you score 7 points, first to 7 points wins the game, and then we'll show a game over screen or a game win screen, depending on whether the player won or not. So let's go to our game scene. And so we are keeping track of score here. We have this dot left score, this dot right score, and then in our check score method, we are checking when a score happens. So right here is when a score happens. And so what we want to do is if the score, let's just do it simple first. If this dot left score, and we're just gonna call this like max score 7. If this dot left score is greater than or equal to 7. Now you could actually do this, or this, although it's usually better to use the triple equals. But I generally prefer to use greater than or equal just in case something terrible happens and you go way over 7 points for some reason, you'll still do the win. So this means left score, this means AI won, because no. This means player won, and then else if this dot right score greater, I should change this, max score, then AI won. All right, so that's the logic. Oops. And I guess we can just make sure this does work, although it would be too long to test for 7. So let's see, console.log player won, and then console.log AI won. We're just going to make this 1 for testing. Just have to let AI win. Player won. See, that is wrong. If left score, oh, because I have this backwards. Okay, let's do that. If it goes scored on left side, which means the increment right score because the AI, so we had a bug here already. Some of you probably already noticed and was wondering, what the hell am I doing? All right, so here we go. So this should give 1 point to the AI and should say AI won. Okay. This AI is constantly winning because it's an update loop. Okay, let's just start that. So what do we want to do? So obviously when the game is over, we should in fact pause the game. Let's see. We'll just make a paused flag. There's other ways to do this. This is simplest. We'll just do it this way for now. So paused, false. And then if paused, we're going to do none of this. If this dot paused, return. So this is an early out, an early exit, meaning that we will not do anything past this return if paused is true. So let's see. So player won, AI won. So if either person wins, we're going to want this dot paused to be true. Right, okay. And we really only want to reset ball if it is not paused and a score happened. How to best do this? All right, so if just say const x. This dot ball dot x. Okay. So obviously, if x is, so that's less than minus 30. If greater than or equal to minus 30, and x is less than or equal to 830, we just do nothing. I think this is logically correct. So we'll just call this left bounds, which is minus 30, and then const right bounds, which is 830. And so if we are greater than the left bounds and less than the right bounds, then we can't possibly have a score anywhere. So left bounds, right bounds. Let's see. Let's see. Really should make this ball move faster. We'll do that right after we finish this test. Alright, we set pause to true, and so we can't actually move anything. Okay, so this looks like this logic is still working. That's good. Which does mean we can actually remove this reset ball call to down here, and if only if this not paused, if not paused. So if the game is not paused, this is not really the best check. We'll just leave it for now. So, okay, we're gonna hit 1 point, and then nothing should happen. The ball did come back, because it hit the wall on the other side. Okay. So if not pause, reset ball, else. We should probably use a game state here instead of just pause, because we're using pause to mean two different things right now, which is not great. But we'll leave it, we'll fix this later. Okay. So here we're gonna want the ball to stop moving. So let's just say this dot ball dot active false. Let's see if that does. Let's make our AI a little bit faster. Not the AI, the ball should move a little bit faster. Actually, this is a reset ball. Okay, move faster. Let's see, 300. Yes, active doesn't quite do it. This dot ball dot body dot world. Well, I guess we can also do this dot physics dot world dot remove this dot ball dot body. Will this stop the ball from moving? What we're trying to do, okay, is basically stop the game while this is happening, while it's game over. So here what we're going to do, so player one, in this case, we're going to want to show a game over screen. So let's just see. Okay, let's just make a state. We're going to make a state because it's easier to deal with if we have states. So let's see, const, I'll just call it game state. It's going to be an object, it's going to have some keys, and it's going to be running, so running, and then player one, so player or AI one. So we're going to use this as a state, and so this dot game state will be game state dot running. Okay. And so if it's paused, we should also return and or if this dot game state not equal to game state dot running. Okay, and then down here, back to our check score. Instead of doing this, since a game will be paused, but not due to player requesting a pause, we are instead going to do this.gameState equals to gameState.player1, and then down here, instead of pausing, we're going to do gameState.ai1. And so if this.gameState, we can use a switch here too, but we'll just leave it as these ifs. GameState dot, so if it's running, reset the ball, otherwise stop the ball, and then we're going to want to here show the game over win screen. Okay, so now let's make a new scene called, we'll just call this the game over screen. So even if you did win, we're just going to change the logic here to show different text if you want. So export, we'll just say import phaser from phaser. We've done before. Export default class game over extends phaser.sim. And then we're not going to preload anything, we're going to skip that. Create. Though I do believe we can pass data to this scene and it will come in here, but we're just going to check. Console.dir data. And okay. So let's see. So let's just do that as a test for now. We do need to go to our main and register the scene. So import game over from scenes game over. And we do want to add this to our scene keys. So const game over equals game over. So you may have seen that I changed files really fast. If you're not familiar with this in VS Code, if you press down Command on the Mac, maybe Control on Windows, you can just then click to it and it'll send you right to that file. So there's that. Okay, so now let's register game.scene.add scene keys.game over our game over scene. Start title screen, that still looks good. So game. Now back in the game scene here, we're going to do what? How should we do this? Let's just run to a totally different scene. We could run our game over screen over our current scene, like on top. But keep things simple for now. We're going to go to a completely different scene. So this.scene.start scene keys, which I guess we don't. That's my other dog whining. Game over. Game over, so start game over scene. And we are going to pass some data in there. So there's a data object. And let's just say, so we can give it anything we want. Let's, okay, so we just want to know who won. So we could just tell it the state, this game state. But for more fine-grained information, let's just go for player score. Is going to be this dot left score, and then, although really, left score, right score, this dot right score. So we're gonna give left score and right score so that if we change later where the player is, left or right, we can still handle it instead of have to change this to say player score or AI score. So okay, so let's just make sure that actually get that data. Yes, let's see. So yeah, my dog was whining because the bedroom door is closed and he has great separation anxiety. So we know he wanted to go in there. Well, okay, I should be not playing the game. Okay, let's see if this works. Boom. All right, and so we were able to get the data there. So in our game over scene, in create, the data we passed comes to us in the first parameter here. So I believe this will also work in init. If you wanted it in init instead of create, like this, this will also work, but we don't have an init, nor do we need one, I don't think. So we'll keep that data. So now we know data has a left score and right score. So let's show you some more JS docs. So in here, what we know we're getting is the left score number, the right score number. That's going to be in data. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so that'll help us out a bit. So we're going to assume left score is the player score and right score is the AI score. So let's see. If data.left score greater than data.right score, we know that the player won. Else, guess you could, can you draw? No. Else AI score, right? Is it possible? No, yeah, someone has to go to 7 first, you can't draw. So then we will just change what happens here. Specifically, so let's see, let title text. We're gonna say, by default, we'll just say game over, but if player won, it's gonna be you win. And actually it doesn't matter, if the AI wins, then it will be game over. So this .add.text 400, let's put this at 200. This is our title text. And there, so font family is going to be, see, I don't remember anything. Press start 2p. Press start 2p. And then font size 38 was good. Great. Let's see. So space to start. No. Oh, what am I playing? This thing. Force a habit. See a ball coming at you, you want to hit it back. All right. We're getting somewhere. So this is again set origin. Set origin. So we saw that game background, we probably don't want that. So that is there because in our game, we did run game background, if you remember up here. And now because we ran it in the scene, we'll need to also stop it. So here, so I guess these states don't actually matter, but we may want to know that in the future. We'll leave that there. Before we start this scene, we're going to do some cleanup. This dot scene dot stop game background. Okay. Let's try it again. All right, look at that. Cleans that up. Great. So now we have not done buttons yet, and we're going to keep it that way. So we're going to just do what we did last time. We're going to use the keyboard input to determine when to restart. So we're going to do this, and if you remember from the last video, it's keyboard dash all caps space. Then we get our callback, and what we're going to do is, let's just say go back to title. Why not? So this dot scene dot start. So we scene keys. So import from dot const scene keys title screen. So we're going to go to the title screen, and let's add some more text. This dot add dot text 400 300, and it's going to say press space to continue, and we will want that font. So obviously it's not exactly great, we're constantly rewriting this and I have to remember what the font name is. I'm going to go here, we're going to just go make a thing called fonts.js. Much like colors, we're going to call this press start 2p. It's going to be this, we're going to export press start 2p. Alright, so I don't have to remember anything anymore, let the computer remember. So import from consts fonts. There we go. Press start to P. We're going to remember to have these quotes double quotes within our single quotes. Okay. Right. Font family, press start to P. So we, I guess, should change the other places where we're using press start to P. So import. So this is slightly dangerous in that we're like adding a new thing to the stack that we're doing, then we gotta pop it off later. But I can usually remember the things that I'm doing. But if you can't, then obviously I recommend doing one thing at a time instead of what I'm doing right now. Okay, I can't change that because that does not need the double quotes. But we can change that. And then I know in title screen we use this. See, it's going to another thing. This is getting more risky that you forget what you were trying to do. Press start to P. But living on the edge. Press start to P. Alright, so now let's just check that our game over screen has a little text to say press space to continue. Okay, will press space work? No. Alright. Game over keyboard dash space. Well, number one dot set origin. So this looks about right. Why is this no good? Let me just make sure we didn't have a spelling error key. Well, I guess we don't really need like this. But key down, not keyboard. See, typing is just bad. You can avoid typing. You should avoid typing. Key down. And boom. Ta-da! Oh, data is null. Data is null. Type error, data is null. Set size. Oh. Let's see why that is the case. Live bug fixing. So we're gonna press space. I'm gonna press space again. I have seen this error before. Not in this project, but in a different project. And it's complaining in game.js. Yes. Let me think. So it is game.js 135. Update AI. So init does get called every time. Pause, this false, game state running. So what's happening here is that update is getting called before it actually exists. As in before the paddle exists, I think. Yeah, so paddle right.body is undefined because how did I fix this in the past? Well, there's of course one way to work around it is simply not to update the AIs if your paddle left is undefined or your paddle right is undefined. But there was another fix, I think. Let's see. So some of the other, at Arcade we actually have a bunch of projects on GitHub. One of the ones is this coronavirus game that we have, and I definitely remember changing scenes. So here we have a game over that can go to the title screen. Here's a button, stop, start, that's the restart, that's the exit, so we stop the game, go to title screen, this is the init, Shut down, destroy. Something we need to destroy? I don't think so. Let's collapse this. Game.js update 85. Update AI. Game is not paused. Game state is equal to running. Okay, this is probably always still undefined, but it doesn't break. Diff is probably nan. Alright, let's try out this debugger. So this is the debugger. So we're gonna use, so if anyone not familiar with a debugger, it lets us pause execution of our code and then check the state of the game, state of the app, while the game's running. So let's just start the game. And then lose. Okay, so now when we press space to continue, we'll go to the title screen, and then if we do that again, just put a little, let's see. So I'm pretty sure what's happening is update is getting called before create. Okay, init, maybe I'm wrong. Update. And create has not been called, oh, because we're preloading. Yes. Yes, okay. So these are breakpoints. You probably just saw before it stopped on the line that I had right here. And so if we, where does it stop now? So this is step over, and we can of course see what's in this, and ball should be, there's this little thing, paddle right. So all these paddles are actually the previous instances and not the new ones. And so the error we're getting is paddle right.body is undefined. And is that true? Yes, so we don't have a body on paddle right. But nonetheless, so the issue here is update is getting called before create, because this scene was created for the first time when we first ran it. Now that we're going backwards to restart it, it is calling update because it still exists, and we're preloading, and create was not going to be called until preload is called. So there's a few ways to fix this, but I'm going to go with creating a preload scene actually. So I'm going to call this, let's call this preload. Preload.js, so import phaser from phaser, export default preload extends, default class, preload extends phaser.scene. Alright, so we're going to do preload, and then on create, we are going to go to the title screen. So this is going to be the first scene that we go to. Scene keys, title screen. So we'll do something in preload, then we're going to go scene.start title screen. And so what we're going to preload are the fonts. So instead of doing this font preload in here, we're going to do it in here. I'm going to do that, and when that's done, so this should error. So we don't have a web font file in there, so we'll just take this out, move this into preload. Okay, so make sure there's no errors. Console. Okay, so the last thing, let's get rid of that. We're going to use, which we have it, got a set one here, preload. Preload, I just like things to be ordered sort of in some way that I find logical, so I'll do it that way. Preload. So let's see. So let's go back to the debugger and see if in preload.js. So it's plausible that Parcel didn't pick up that new file. Let's just see. Oh no, I'm silly. I have to actually import it here. Import preload from scenes preload. And of course I forgot to register this. Preload. Okay, let's try it again. All right, space to start. Game over. Ta-da. All right, no errors. That's fixed, and we're preloading some assets ahead of time. You may want to do that anyway, realistically. And in those cases, you win. Space, space. So in the preload, this is really fast, this preload, so it may not matter. But you could add a little loading bar or like a number. Actually, can you do number? You probably can't do number because I don't think Phaser tells you the total progress because it doesn't know, honestly. Because for example, this web font file, I don't believe we can get the % completed. We can do like a little spinner while it preloads or just say loading. We're not going to do that here because that is so fast. It'll be just fine. So to summarize, we added a preload to fix a bug that we had at the end, and we handling score first to 7 points. It goes to the game over screen, and from the game over screen, you can go back to the title screen and replay the game. So come back next time, and we're going to add some sound effects.